Imagine for a second that you've achieved your absolute ultimate career goal.
Right. The absolute pinnacle.
Exactly. You did everything right. You have the perfect apartment in the city, the dream job, traveling the world on a corporate credit card. You're eating at Michelin-starred restaurants.
Staying in these pristine five-star hotels.
Yeah, and yet you are sitting on your expensive couch and you feel completely, inexplicably empty.
It's a profoundly disorienting place to find yourself. It challenges everything we are taught about success and happiness, really.
What do you do when the dream life you fought so hard for doesn't actually feel like a dream anymore?
And that is exactly the psychological quagmire we find the protagonist in for today's source material, which is drawn from Emily Henry's best-selling novel, People We Meet on Vacation.
Now, for those of you who already know and love this book, you know it's widely celebrated as a quintessential breezy summer romance. But the mission for our deep dive today isn't just to recap a story you're likely already familiar with.
We want to really peel back the layers here.
Right, we are going to explore how the author brilliantly uses these incredibly popular literary tropes as a sort of Trojan horse. She uses them to unpack some surprisingly heavy psychological themes.
We are talking about the cultural epidemic of millennial ennui, the fundamental illusion of contentment, and the terrifying, truly messy vulnerability of being truly deeply known by another person.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because to understand the emotional weight of this story, we have to look past the surface of the central opposites attract dynamic.
Right. In lesser hands, putting two polar opposites together is just a vehicle for easy comedic friction. But here, those extreme differences serve a deeply specific psychological purpose for both characters.
Let's start with Poppy Wright. For those of us familiar with her chaotic energy, it's easy to just write her off as a loud, quirky protagonist from East Linfield, Ohio.
Oh, absolutely. We all know the signature look. She shows up wearing a neon orange and pink floral jumpsuit from the early 70s.
Yeah. She drops out of college to travel, eventually hustling her way into a highly coveted job at a luxury travel magazine called Rest Plus Relaxation. On the surface, she is pure, unfiltered chaos.
And then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have Alex Nilsson. Tall, meticulously organized, perpetually slouched, from West Linfield, Ohio.
The West Linfield detail is great. And his wardrobe is essentially a uniform, right?
Yeah.
Identical khakis and rumpled button-ups.
Because the mere sensory experience of a shopping mall completely overwhelms him. He's terrified of flying. He possesses this irrational hatred for saxophones and cover songs. And he is intensely devoted to his cat, Flannery O'Connor.
And he eventually becomes an AP English teacher, which is just perfect. But I have to jump in here, though, because I don't think their meet-cutes are just about how different they are.
Definitely not.
When they first cross paths during freshman orientation at the University of Chicago, he's wearing khakis and a university t-shirt he bought 10 hours ago. And she basically asks if he's a lost tourist.
And then a year later, they share that tense, silent car ride back to Ohio,
where Alex completely refuses to let Poppy play David Bowie because of his strict anti-saxophone stance. It's hilarious, sure, but what is actually happening beneath the surface in those early interactions?
What's fascinating here is how these highly detailed quirks are actually the distinct sets of armor these characters wear to survive the world.
Armor? I like that.
Yeah, think about Poppy. She grew up feeling fundamentally misunderstood in her hometown. She was relentlessly bullied in high school, haunted by the cruel nickname Porny Poppy.
Ugh, high school kids are the worst.
They really are. And this was after a vicious rumor spread about her. So because of that trauma, she weaponizes her loud clothes and her chaotic energy. It's a shield. She projects a total lack of care about what others think, so they literally can't hurt her.
I hear that, but let me push back on Alex for a second. Is his intense need for routine and his stoicism really just armor? Or is it a genuine, necessary coping mechanism that helped him survive his childhood?
That's a fair question.
Because he is the overburdened oldest sibling of a widower. His mother died when his youngest brother was born. He literally had to step up, make the peanut butter sandwiches, and mix the baby formula while he was still a kid himself.
That is a crucial distinction, you're right. It is absolutely a survival mechanism. He craves control, routine, and safety precisely because his early life was marked by a sudden, devastating loss of it.
Right.
And that is why the opposites attract trope isn't just cute here. It's psychologically healing. They provide the exact emotional counterweight the other lacks.
Yeah.
Poppy's relentless, boundary-pushing energy coaxes out silly Alex.
Yes, the guy who will passionately belt out a heart-wrenching rendition of a heart song in the car.
Exactly. And in return, Alex's predictable nature makes the world feel safe for Poppy. He's the anchor that allows her to be a kite.
Which brings us perfectly to the present-day timeline in the text. The author labels this summer, Poppy is in the middle of a full-blown quarter-life crisis.
It's hard to read sometimes, honestly.
It is. She's sitting in a pitch meeting with her flawlessly dressed, extremely intimidating boss, Swapna Bakshi Highsmith, who runs the Rest Plus Relaxation empire.
And Swapna is practically handing her the world. She's suggesting glamorous locations like Santorini for a summer feature.
But Poppy feels absolutely nothing. She can't think of a single inspired location, and she actually turns Santorini down.
Turning down Santorini is the ultimate symptom of her profound sense of emptiness. To really diagnose what's happening to her, we have to look at her conversation with her best friend in New York, Rachel Crone.
Rachel is such a great character.
She operates as a fascinating foil in this narrative. She is a highly pragmatic social media influencer who hand washes her dishes while wearing 4-inch heels.
And runs dog rescues on the side.
Right. So they're sitting at this trendy wine bar in Dumbo, and Poppy just confesses her misery. She has the dream job, the nice apartment, the company credit card, and yet she feels completely hollow.
She tells Rachel that she actually misses the feeling of wanting something, and Rachel immediately diagnoses this as millennial ennui. But Rachel doesn't just offer platitudes, does she?
Not at all. Rachel delivers a striking philosophical insight that challenges the core of how many of us live. She tells Poppy that contentment is a lie invented by capitalism.
Wow. Contentment is a lie.
Yeah. Rachel openly admits that the highly curated images she posts online are specifically designed to make people pine for a lifestyle that doesn't organically exist. She argues that purpose, the drive towards something, matters far more than this mythical state of contentment.
I want to pause on that because it's such a heavy concept for the listener to consider. Think about your own life for a second. Have you ever worked tirelessly for a degree, a major promotion, or a big move to a new city, only to wake up the day after you achieve it and feel this strange, hollow sense of loss?
Your rival fallacy.
Exactly. The thing driving you forward, giving your days structure and meaning, is suddenly gone, leaving a void.
Precisely. The completion of long-term goals often triggers a depressive state because the identity you built around striving has essentially been retired. So Rachel gives Poppy a piece of psychological advice passed down from her therapist mother.
Which is?
When you lose your happiness, retrace your steps. Go back to the exact last time you were truly happy and see what was different.
And for Poppy, that memory is instantaneous. The last time she felt genuine joy was 2 years ago in Croatia on a summer trip with Alex.
But here is the massive rift in the narrative.
Right. Whatever happened on that trip to Croatia catastrophically ruined their friendship. They have barely spoken in 2 years. It's devolved into those polite, sterile birthday texts that you send to an acquaintance, not your best friend.
The realization that her happiness is inextricably tied to this broken, unresolved relationship acts as the catalyst for the entire plot moving forward.
It leads to this incredibly agonizing scene. If you've ever tried to reconnect with someone after a falling out, you will feel this in your bones. Poppy is sitting on her tiny New York balcony, swatting away moths, trying to draft a text to Alex to break a 2-year silence.
She's drafting and deleting these casual, breezy messages, overthinking every single syllable.
And then, in a moment of sheer panic, she accidentally sends the most pathetic, unimaginative text possible. She just sends, hey.
Just hey.
Just hey. It is a brilliant, highly relatable moment of tension. But notice how the author uses that tiny, pathetic text to seamlessly showcase the sheer undeniable weight of their connection.
How so?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Alex doesn't ice her out. He doesn't send back a formal, distant reply. He texts back, is this about the disappearing sandwiches in the break room?
Oh, that's right.
Within seconds, they bypass 2 years of silence and fall right back into their old, hyper-specific banter. They were joking about his workplace nemesis, Ms. Delalo, who hoards the staff fridge with Rubens.
And he starts sending her these blurry selfies, making his signature sad puppy face.
Yes, it's so effortless.
That effortless banter is a double-edged sword, though. It highlights the tragedy of their estrangement. They clearly still speak each other's language perfectly, but it also gives Poppy an opening. She formulates a strategy based on a key realization.
Which is that as her career skyrocketed, their trips fundamentally changed.
Exactly. They became less about their authentic connection and more about luxury, status, and content creation for her magazine. The corporate five-star travel environment suffocated their bond.
So she decides the only way to fix it is to manufacture some forced nostalgia. She pitches an old-school, scrappy, dirt cheap vacation. She knows Alex is flying out to Palm Springs for his 24-year-old brother David's destination wedding.
And she convinces him to let her tag along for the week beforehand.
Right, promising him a budget-friendly trip just like they used to take, desperately hoping this shared struggle will magically repair the damage from Croatia.
But as we soon see, nostalgia is an incredibly dangerous thing to try and manufacture. You cannot simply recreate the past by replicating the budget.
Definitely not.
The author completely strips away all the romantic glamour of Palm Springs to force these characters into a literal pressure cooker. The expectation of a breezy, healing vacation immediately collides with an excruciating reality.
Pressure cooker is almost an understatement. The reality of this trip is spectacularly disastrous. For starters, it's the off-season in the desert, so it is 106 degrees.
Miserable.
And the rental car Poppy sourced from a random Facebook group to save money turns out to be a rusted Ford Aspire that smells aggressively like a blunt.
And their transportation from the airport isn't any better. They are forced to share a cab with a deeply tanned couple wearing matching bedazzled visors, who introduce themselves as Wifey and Hubby Bob.
I love how Poppy and Alex handle Hubby Bob and Wifey. To avoid answering any awkward, genuine questions about their own relationship status, they instantly fall back into their old game of creating ridiculous alter egos.
Right, they tell this couple they met working as vomit scoopers outside a 3D ride at Disneyland.
It's a hilarious scene, but why do they default to this? It feels like a massive defense mechanism.
It is absolutely a defense mechanism. When you are terrified of the truth of a relationship, playing pretend is a safe harbor. It is infinitely easier to invent a shared fictional history than to actually look at each other and address the elephant in the room.
That makes sense.
But that avoidance becomes physically impossible once they reach their accommodation.
Oh, the Airbnb from hell. It's run by a host named Nikolai, who refuses to fix the thermostat, which is permanently stuck at an oppressive 82 degrees.
And you have to turn it down exactly 1 degree at a time, waiting for the system to process before lowering it again. It's maddening.
And the physical space itself is designed to heighten anxiety. The balcony is wrapped in noisy, suffocating construction plastic, cutting them off from the outside world.
And the bathroom has been remodeled into this hyper-modern blue-tinted glass spaceship equipped with 6 shower heads and a foot massager that operates via an unpredictable AI system. It is pure, inescapable chaos.
We see this all the time in romance narratives, right? The classic only one bed trope. Usually it's a cozy, luxurious king-size bed in a snowed-in cabin with high thread count sheets that forces the characters together.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Henry's deploying that exact trope, but she subverts it in the most uncomfortable, unromantic way imaginable. Because it's a cheap studio apartment, there's one normal bed, and the second bed is just a sagging, coral-colored imitation suede fold-out chair.
Ugh, my back hurts just thinking about it.
It forces them into immediate proximity, but through the lens of profound physical discomfort.
Exactly. They are sweating, they are cramped, and they are hyper-aware of each other. The author uses this weird, sweltering space to slowly strip away their emotional defenses by first stripping away their physical comfort.
You see this tension building in highly vulnerable, uncomfortable scenes, like the excruciatingly intimate moment at the crowded pool where they have to apply sunscreen to each other's backs. Every single touch carries the weight of 2 years of physical absence.
That physical vulnerability reaches its absolute climax at 5:30 in the morning. Alex, trying to be the stoic hero we discussed earlier, insisted on sleeping on that terrible fold-out chair so Poppy wouldn't get a migraine from the lack of support.
And, as a direct result, he wakes up in the dark with a crippling back spasm. He is literally paralyzed by pain on the floor.
This felt like such a turning point to me. Alex prides himself on his control. He is the guy who holds everything together for everyone else. But here, he is forced into a completely helpless state. He cannot hide his physical pain, and more importantly, he cannot reject Poppy's care. Does this physical breakdown act as the catalyst for their emotional breakdown?
Unquestionably. As Poppy is taking care of him, fetching medicine, helping him drink water, the reality of the massive 2-year gap in their lives finally cracks wide open.
He finally tells her.
Yes. Alex reveals that he didn't just have a random back spasm, he's been suffering from them for a year. He then casually mentions that his beloved grandmother Betty passed away, and he bought her mid-century house and has been fixing it up.
Poppy is utterly devastated in that moment. She missed all of this. The silence between them wasn't just a pause in their banter, it was a profound loss of major life events.
She realizes she hasn't just lost her travel buddy. She lost the privilege of knowing the most important person in her life.
And the immense weight of that loss is something the author has been meticulously building for the reader, not just through the events in Palm Springs, but through the very architecture of the novel itself. The narrative structure is highly nonlinear, constantly flashing back to their previous summer trips.
Which is such a smart choice.
I want to hear your take on how those flashbacks function, because they are sprinkled throughout the book like these vibrant little short stories. We get to see exactly what they used to be to each other before the corporate cards and the silence.
Think about the trip 10 summers ago to British Columbia. They are young, completely broke, and taking a terrifyingly choppy water taxi ride with a highly relaxed, patchouli-smelling driver named Buck.
Oh man, ugh.
They are watching wild otters hold hands. Poppy even ends up making out with Buck on a mattress on the floor of his communal house. But when she sets a boundary and says she doesn't want to have sex, Buck respects it entirely.
And what is Alex doing during all of this? He is quietly sleeping in a tent outside Buck's house, waiting for her. He doesn't judge her wildness. He simply acts as a silent sentry, making sure she's safe.
And contrast that quiet, protective moment with the absolute comedy of the trip 9 summers ago to Nashville.
That one is my favorite. Before they even leave Ohio, Poppy's well-meaning but totally overbearing mother casually hands her a bulk box of lambskin condoms right in front of a horrified Alex.
It's so awkward. They end up staying in a bizarre-themed motel, getting stuck in the Billy Ray Cyrus room. Poppy is wearing bright red leather boots to ride a mechanical bull. It is a portrait of pure, unadulterated joy.
The contrast the author is drawing is incredibly sharp. By weaving these vivid, joyful memories of past trips with the oppressive, suffocating, 82-degree reality of the present-day Palm Springs trip, she shows the reader exactly what is at stake.
It's masterful pacing.
So what does this all mean for us as readers? Why not just tell the story in chronological order?
Because human memory and grief don't operate chronologically. It creates an incredibly effective tension device. You aren't just reading about two people who are currently awkward around each other in a sweaty apartment. You are actively experiencing the profound loss of a beautiful, rare connection.
It builds a psychological map of their dynamic.
Exactly. Highlighting that lingering 5% what-if romantic tension that has always simmered beneath the surface of their platonic friendship. When they are stuck in Palm Springs, the tension isn't just about the heat or the broken AC. It's about the terrifying possibility that they might never get back to the effortless joy they had in British Columbia or Nashville.
They have so much to lose, and because of how the story is structured, you feel every single ounce of it. It's a brilliant way to build a narrative. It takes the framework of a breezy summer beach read and uses it to ask some really serious, probing questions about what we are chasing in our own lives.
It really does.
The book ultimately suggests that true happiness isn't found in a perfectly curated 5-star hotel room. Happiness is found in the chaotic, messy, un-air-conditioned reality of simply being with someone who truly understands and accepts you. Bowl cuts, bad decisions, back spasms, and all.
This raises an important question for all of us to consider, especially when we look at Rachel's earlier point about contentment and capitalism. It is so easy to get caught up in the pursuit of culturally sanctioned milestones.
The prestigious job, the luxury vacations, the perfect aesthetic you can post online.
But people we meet on vacation actively challenges that narrative by showing how empty it is at the top if you were there alone.
It really does. Which brings us to a final thought for you to mull over today. We spent a lot of time talking about Rachel's idea of curated lifestyles and Poppy's pursuit of the perfect luxury travel aesthetic. Look at your own life and the way you share it with the world.
It's a tough mirror to look into.
In our modern obsession with curating our lives for social media, filtering our vacations, our homes, our relationships to look flawless, are we actually destroying our own ability to form authentic connections? Are we so busy trying to make our lives look like a 5-star magazine spread that we are terrified of letting anyone see the messy 82-degree un-air-conditioned reality of who we actually are?
A provocative thought to end on, and a poignant reminder of what it actually costs to look perfect.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Until next time.